Hi besties, welcome back to my channel, or hi, my name is Stacy if you're new here. So as a lot of you know, I am obsessed with blush and I'm a self-proclaimed blush queen. So today's video is really exciting because we're going to be discussing the best blushes for summer that I have in my collection. And yeah, I have both cream and powder options and also like some cool tone, some warm tone. A lot of these are like falling into the same color families, but that's kind of the whole vibe. So if you want to see that, then just keep on watching. But before I get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this because it really helps out my channel and it would really mean a lot to me. And let's just get right into the video. Okay, so let's start off with cream, since I feel like creams are very in for summer right now. So the very first brand of blush I want to talk about is the Patrick Ta Blush Duos. The most summery blushes from him, in my opinion, are in his holiday set, but this was a limited edition set, but now they sell these duos individually. So you guys can pick and choose which ones you think like would suit your skin tone or your preferences better. Every single shade in this palette is perfect for summer. You have your bright bubblegum pink, which is super on trend right now, but this one's a little bit warmer than like the classic Dior one or other bubblegum pinks that are really popular right now. So I feel like this will be more versatile for more skin tones, like especially if you have a warmer skin tone. So this is the shade She's a Doll. And then we have this nice red coral in the center, and this is the shade She's Vibrant. This is the perfect corally red shade for summer. Honestly, summer is the only time where I feel drawn and like attracted to these types of shades. I feel like the rest of the year it's not really my vibe, but for summer we want to bring out the bright, vibrant colors. So yeah, this is also really pretty. And then lastly, we have this shade called She's Baked. And this is the perfect sun-kissed blush. Like, it has that bronzy, rosy undertone, so it's just gonna make you look like you were out in the sun, you got a little bit of a tan and or a little bit of a sunburn at the same time. So yeah, this trio is perfect for the summer. If you weren't able to get your hands on this limited edition trio, just pick whichever duo like speaks to you the most. But I feel like every single shade is so good and just screams summer. So let me swatch these for you guys. First up, we have She's a Doll. This is the cream, and this is the powder. You can see how they just swatch very smoothly. Let me build them up a little so you can see them better. Perfect bubblegum pinky shade. Also love the concept of the duos because you can make them glowier with the cream base on top. You can use them separately. You could just go for a matte look with the powder. And the powder is not too powdery. So basically, yeah, it's the perfect duo situation. Okay, I also wanted to do an honorable mentions for the Patrick Ta blushes. So I have 3 here. This is the shade Do We Know Her. This is a perfect brighter like melon shade for light skin tones like me. It will give you that perfect pop of color for the summer, but it's still not going to be as like vibrant as these. I just really like this one because it's a super juicy color. Like, it literally reminds me of fruit. So definitely recommend this one. And then I have 2 bronzy blush recommendations. So we have She's So LA, which is this more true neutral bronze, and She's Blushing, which has this pinker, rosier undertone. Both of them are really pretty, and they both give this like sunburnt, sun-kissed flush to your cheeks, especially if you have fair skin like me. They kind of like end up pulling pretty similar, but this one's a little bit cooler in undertone and a little bit pinker, whereas this one is more of a true neutral, but does have a slight red undertone that makes it more wearable than how it looks in the pan. So I'd recommend these if you think the She's Baked color is like too red and like deep for your skin tone. Okay, also it just started like storming outside, so if you guys can like hear that in the background, just ignore it please. Anyway, next up we have these Makeup by Mario cream blush sticks. These kind of went viral on TikTok a while ago, but these ever since they launched have been one of my favorite cream blush formulas. So the 2 shades that I specifically want to recommend for summer are Soft Coral. So that's Soft Coral, and Raspberry. This is Raspberry. She is bright. But anyways, here are the 2 shades, Soft Coral and Raspberry. And I'm gonna blend them out a little so you can see. They blend out super easily. Especially this raspberry shade is pretty unique in like the undertone. It kind of leans cool, but it's mostly neutral. But anyway, both of these super pretty. They give you like this watercolor look to your cheeks. They also do add a slight dew, but it's nothing too greasy or thick. Like, the formula is very thin on your cheeks. I'm just in love with like how pigmented yet translucent they are. They don't have that like opacity that other really pigmented blushes have, but as you can see, they're very bright and pigmented. Basically just a really nice true cream blush formula. If you're a cream blush lover, definitely look into these. Okay, so next up I want to actually talk about a dupe for the Rare Beauty blushes, and these have also been pretty popular on TikTok. These are the Makeup Revolution blush bombs. I recently got these and I think they're like $8 each, and honestly these are really pretty. Especially like these shades. Like, look how perfect for summer. We have your warmer tones and you have your cooler tone pinks. I'll just like swatch these while I talk about these. This is the shade Peach Filter. This is a very light peach. It's also kind of hard to find blushes that are this light, especially in a cream blush. Like, it definitely has a white base to it, and this is actually the main blush I have today on my cheeks. It's not this glowy actually. I topped it with a highlighting product that I'm gonna mention later, but the main color that you see is this Peach Filter shade. So It's super pretty for any peachy looks that you want to do in the summer. And it's really nice for me, for my fair skin tone, because it has like this pastel tone to it while still like kind of having this brightness. If you have fair skin, definitely look into this one. Next up we have Glam Orange, which is very similar, but it's definitely just more orange and more pigmented, as you can see here. And these have like a dewy finish, so they're more similar to the Rare Beauty dewy formula, but I would say these are a little bit more glossy than those, and they're also slightly less pigmented than the Rare Beauty. But I actually like that about these because Rare Beauty is very pigmented, so if you're like a beginner, it might be a little bit difficult to kind of learn how to use it because you literally need 1 dot, especially if you have a light skin tone. If you have a deep skin tone, maybe like 2 dots, but like they are very pigmented. So if you're not used to that, Rare Beauty can be kind of difficult. So I feel like these are a great alternative and they're like half the price. Next up we have the shade Dolly Rose. This is a really pretty pink. So these are kind of like the equivalents of each other. As you can see, this one's also very fair. Just a really nice rosy pink. And then we have the shade Savage Coral. So this one is more like a hot pink, in my opinion. Like, not really seeing the coral here. Still really pretty for summer. Love all of these, but you can see how they all have that dew. Obviously, if you blend it out, it's gonna have less dew. They feel pretty thin on the skin, like they're not that heavy, greasy, oily mess. Especially considering I have oilier skin, I can still wear these. You can kind of see that after you blend it out, it's not like so dewy shiny as like if I piled it on. I think it's probably not as long lasting as Rare Beauty just because it has less pigment and it's a little bit more dewy. For the price, I feel like it's definitely worth it. So if you're into these colors, definitely check out the Revolution blush bombs. And I haven't heard many people on YouTube talk about these, but like you can see how nice it looks on my cheeks. And it kind of has like this blurring quality to it as well, I feel like. Okay, next up we have actually a product that I'm really excited about. It's this MAC blush palette. So I haven't heard a single soul talk about this besides MAC themselves. Like that's how I found out about this palette. I think I saw MAC post a TikTok just like showing this palette and I was like, whoa, that's actually really pretty for a summer blush palette. So I immediately bought it, but I haven't heard any other YouTuber, influencer, whatever, like talk about this palette before. This is the MAC Pro Face palette in the shade Bright Blush. Can this like not be any more perfect for summer? This is basically all of the bright blush tones that you would need, period. And you can even like mix them together if you want. This shade is Juicy Tangelo. So this is more of like a sheer cream blush. But I feel like it's still like pigmented enough, but this is sheerer than the other cream blushes I mentioned. Well, it's not sheerer than the Patrick Ta Duo cream blush because those are also pretty sheer. So I think it's about the same level as that if you're familiar with that formula. So you can like build up the color, but it's gonna take a few layers to get that like opaque color. Like this Juicy Tangelo shade looks kind of funky. It's just a really good orange shade if you like your really orange makeup. And you can also mix this with other shades. So I would usually mix this with the shade next to it, which is called Pink Tulip. So this in my head is more of a coral shade. I mean, it's kind of a pinky coral, I guess, but super pretty. So this is more of like a true classic cream formula. There's no like special formulation I would say that goes into this. It's not going to be the most long lasting. It's going to give you that glossy cheek look, but like the colors I feel like are stunning. The shade is called Fuchsia-istic, like the shade fuchsia and then istic. And this is more like your cool tone pink. So I just really like the versatility that this palette has. You literally have all the tones that you would need. And then lastly we have the shade Very Good, which is like this purple shade. And if you've been on my channel, you know I am a purple blush fanatic. So if I see purple, I'm gonna buy it. Again, this one isn't one of those that like pulls super purple. It's more like a violet. So it has that like pinky undertone to it, as you can see. And like the more you blend it out, the more it would turn pink rather than like literally purple. But this one is actually kind of interesting because, I mean, it kind of matches the name Very Good. It's more of a berry purple shade because a lot of the purples I own are like lavender. They're very bright and almost like blue based and very pastel. But this one has a very pink undertone to it and it's a little bit deeper actually. So I feel like deeper skin tones might like this purple better than a lot of the other purple blushes on the market. So here's all 4 shades swatched. Let me blend them out a little so you can kind of see. Here's them blended out a little. They can go with any summery look that you want. I feel like this little palette is really nifty if you like blush palettes or if you like variety to your blush shades. I highly recommend this. I also recommend this for drier skin types, but even with my oily skin, I feel like I can still wear this. Okay, now I have the last cream product, which is also what I'm wearing on my cheeks, which is giving me like this super highlight effect, which I really like. And it's this Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand in the shade Peachgasm. So I'm specifically recommending this one. Like everyone and their mother has heard of this. If you've been on social media recently, this is probably like the most viral, hyped up product recently. However, can you see why? Like, hello. the glow, the glisten it's giving to my cheeks. It's giving glass skin without having that dewy glossy feeling that like other cream blushes might have. Actually, this isn't even the one that went viral. That one's Pinkgasm, and I'm recommending Peachgasm because it's just a warmer, peachier tone, which I think goes great for summer. But honestly, either one, any of the Beauty Light ones, I recommend. But this shade in particular is hitting right now because just look at this. Just look. I don't think anything needs to be said, but I will continue to speak. The main pro about this product is that it goes on super thin on the skin and it dries down essentially fully. I don't know if it's like transfer proof necessarily, but it's like almost transfer proof at least. Like it like basically sets, and it's not like a traditional cream. So you get that beautiful glass skin look, but without like the cons of having like a heavy cream on your skin, especially in the summer. If you're oily like me, things are getting sweaty, things are getting hot, you know, and you're already getting that glow on. You want to make sure that your glow is like controlled. So honestly, the hype around this product is worth it. It's real. However, I do have some disclaimers about this. So the first one is that I feel like if you have very textured cheeks and you're like insecure about it, this is going to highlight that. It is a very glowy highlighter. If that's like an issue that you have, especially like, you know, on the place that you would highlight, which is like right here, I think you're going to want to steer away from this. It could emphasize texture, especially if you put a lot. However, my preferred way to use this is as a blush topper. So as I mentioned earlier, I use the Makeup Revolution Peach Filter as the main blush. That's like the color that you're seeing. And then to top it off and give me that highlighted effect, I went in with this one and I basically just used it as a highlighter. But it does add a little bit of extra color to your cheeks, which I really like because I like a really blushy look. So these types of blush toppers are something that I'm really into. But I will say that like I wouldn't use this on its own because once you build it up to like get the color pigment that you want, it would be way too glowy, and that would emphasize texture even on like my skin, which doesn't have too much textural issue, especially like not right here. So I just want to give some warning because this is so glowy. I definitely recommend using it as a blush topper rather than like a true blush. But like you guys can see for yourself. Okay, now I'm moving on into powder blushes. How can I talk about powder blush without talking about my dear Pat McGrath? So if you've been following my channel, you know I'm a little bit of a Pat McGrath stan. But yeah, her blushes, she did something with that. You would think that all powder blushes are like essentially the same, which like a lot of them are, but these Pat McGrath ones, they hit different, okay? I only picked out 2 shades to recommend, but I honestly recommend every single shade in the lineup. I recommended a lot of her original blushes in my favorite spring blushes video, so I'll link that up here. And I also have swatched every single one of her duos in another video, which I'll link up here, so if you want to see those like individual swatches. But basically, I just picked the 2 shades that I think are the most perfect for summer. So first off, we have the shade Paradise Glow. So this is actually Desert Orchid and Paradise Venus mixed together, which is like from her original line. So if you have either of those are perfect for summer. But yeah, it's the perfect sunburnt flush. It has that perfect like terracotta undertone, but it's not too orange. Also, they have this slight pearl running through them. It's not like this dramatic. They just add that little bit of life to your cheeks that a lot of powder blushes just like get rid of straight up. That's why this formula is so great. It's just like a creamy powder. But the main thing I love about this is just that it doesn't get rid of your glow, which is like something that I feel like we really want during the summer, but it's still gonna like set your cheeks. In a similar vein, I have the shade Divine Rose, but this is more for those of you who like a brighter blush. Like this is the perfect bright pink blush. It's more of a vibrant pink, but it's still not so crazy. It's not too like baby doll or Barbie cheeks as like some of the other blushes I mentioned. So this is like a more wearable way to wear bright pink if you've been like kind of wanting to play with that idea, but you're still a little bit scared of like going into those Barbie cheeks that have been trending recently. This I feel like is the way to go, and I feel like this is more flattering on a greater variety of skin tones. So yeah, it's just like super pretty pinky blush for summer. Let me just quickly swatch these for you, even though I already have a huge swatch video up for you guys, but I just want you guys to see what I'm talking about. So this is the Paradise Glow shade. There's like a nice warm terracotta shade, and then we have Divine Rose 2. Like look how pretty. It's just like a nice rosy pink, but it still like has that vibrance that's gonna bring life to your complexion. So Pat McGrath, she's done it again. Pick any blush from the lineup or use my recommendations, but you're gonna be set either way if you buy her blushes. Okay, next up we have another iconic viral product. I know a lot of these I mentioned are viral products, but that's just kind of like what I've been testing out recently. And these are the ones that are actually like worth the hype in my opinion. So I don't mean to just be like pushing the viral trends, but these are the ones that are actually good in my opinion. We have these iconic Dior blushes. I'm recommending both of them because obviously we have some warm tone gals and some cool tone gals up in here, and both of these are perfect for summer. I mean, okay, if I had to pick one, I would pick this pink one. This is the ultra iconic one, like that hot pink Barbie shade, and let me swatch it for you. So it has like this translucent quality to it that a lot of other blushes don't have. Like they would be more opaque and kind of have more of a white base. So even though it looks crazy in the pan, on the cheeks it looks more natural. Like it's gonna just blend out and mesh with your skin tone. Apparently the color changes depending on like how much moisture you have in your skin. That's also part of how it like adapts. Really pretty rosy pink glow, and it's very cool tone. So if you're a cool tone gal and you've had trouble like finding a bright blush that fits you, this is the one. Even if you're not a cool tone gal, it looks really good actually on like medium skin tone people, like people who are kind of tan. I haven't seen this on dark skin. So let me know how this color works for you. If you have dark skin, leave a comment down below. I know it definitely works on like medium to tan skin tones, and this is like so pretty on them. Like it just brightens your complexion, gives you that like pretty pink flush, and just gives you that like very girly feminine look. We also have the coral shade, which this is very pretty, and I feel like it's more wearable. More people would feel comfortable wearing this shade. It's just like this perfect salmon and coral shade. Again, perfect for summer. And these two are honestly like, they've become kind of indispensable in my makeup rotation. The main reason is because I actually like wearing a lot of really light blushes, like pastel shades, but then I like to have that little like pop of color like in the center. It's like a very K-beauty thing. And these are like my go-to pops of color. Like when I just want to add a little bit more pigmentation, but I still want that like bright pastel look. And it's just so convenient because first of all, these are really compact. So I travel with these. It's just perfect because you have this one cool tone and this one warm tone. And it's just like, it makes so much sense to me, like in my head. I literally always reach for these. And also the formula, hopefully you guys can see, like there's no powderiness to it. It even has like maybe like the slightest sheen. Not really an added sheen, but it just like mimics your skin very well. And it's like super, super thin. It doesn't add a layer of powder on top of your skin that a lot of powder blushes do. This is definitely also on the more buildable side, but you still get that vibrant color. It still has that like watercolor see-throughness to it. You can even see my like veins running through it. So it's just like super pretty and like natural for a very vibrant blush. I don't know how to describe. Like if you had to pick one bright blush, I would honestly go for these. And I feel like even if you normally don't like powder, I think you'd still like these because they don't have that powdery cakey look. They just literally like melt into your skin. So yeah, these Dior Backstage Rosy Glow blushes, they did something with this. Okay, next up I have these M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow blushes. And these are from their Masterpiece collection. So we have this shade, which is the one that I really recommend, shade Baroque. And it's just like this perfect neutral brown flush. But what really makes these stand out is like their luminous finish. So the only problem with this shade is it's really light and it's only gonna show up like if you have my type of skin tone, as you can see. Otherwise, it would just kind of look like a powder. Like it would probably just be your skin tone, if that makes sense. You can see how it's just like that perfect neutral bronzy shade. And it does have a little bit of warmth and like this pink pearl running through it. It's just super pretty. This is very nice if you just like a light bronzy look to your blush. I feel like you'll really like this shade. And then I feel like if you have a deeper skin tone, this is essentially the same thing, but for a deeper skin tone. This is the shade Rococo. On light skin tone, it's gonna look more terracotta-y. Let me blend that out. But yeah, you can see how it has a little bit more red to it, and it's gonna give you that little bit more of like that sunburnt vibe. But on a deeper skin tone, it's probably gonna do the same as what this is doing to my skin tone. But if you have a very deep skin tone, I don't think either of these are gonna show up on you. This is more like light to medium, maybe tan. These are, I would really recommend for people who don't like having a blush color on their cheeks. If you're too afraid of like looking like a clown, or if you don't like that kind of rosy flush, these are like a blush that's like a bronzer shade. So if you're into that, I think you'd really like this. And you can see how it adds that nice luminosity to your cheeks. Super pretty, can't mess up the application, and just gives you that bronzy sun-kissed glow. Okay, lastly, I have more of an honorable mention, and I just have not been able to like live without these ever since I got these. These are these Dior blush palettes. So Dior is like a Korean beauty brand. You have this warm blending and cool blending palette. So these are like really pale and pastel. So they're not like what I would typically recommend for a summer blush. However, I just really need to recommend this technique right now, which is basically using a really light pastel blush. It's like a shade darker than your powder. You want this blush shade to be in between your under eye powder shade and your cheek shade, if that makes sense. So basically it's going to be a really light, slightly blushy shade. You can apply that to whatever like skin tone you have. If you have a deep skin tone, a lot of the other like nudie blushes that might show up deeper on me would be your pastel blush shade. I actually used this today. I used this really light orangey tangerine shade, and after I applied my blush products, you really want to like blend it seamlessly into your under eye and just like your cheek area. In order to do that, you just want to use a really light pastel blush for your skin tone and just blend right around the edges all the way up into your under eye and right around here, usually where your pores are the biggest, and like under the blush. So kind of like make a circle, I guess, around your blush application, and it just makes it so smooth and flawless. Like hopefully you guys can see, like before I did this, it can kind of look like just like two swatches of color on your cheeks, but when you do this method, it just blends it seamlessly into the rest of your skin makeup. And also this works not only with powder blush, but also with cream blush, because I used creams today. And when you use this powder on the center areas of your face, it kind of blurs it just like how a regular powder would, but it's doing that blurring, pore filling action while also bridging the color in between your blush and the rest of your face. So this is like super helpful, especially if you're like really pale, because a lot of times blushes can end up looking too much on you like really quick. So these types of pastel blushes just like tone that down immediately. I mean, you could even like blend it all over your cheeks, but this kind of pastel like blending out around the cheeks is, I feel like, is the best method to get that seamless blush blend. I also saw this method mentioned on TikTok. I'll link the username of the girl down below because I forgot, but I know she calls it mid-tone blushing. So that's kind of the idea, is that you want a blush that's a mid-tone between your actual blush color and your like setting powder color. I don't think she's the first one to come up with it, but she's definitely like the one to kind of popularize it, at least on TikTok. So I'll link her at down below. But yeah, I've been using this method and my blush application has never looked so flawless. And also these powders specifically are super good for blurring your pores. Like, look how nice this blend is today. So yeah, just wanted to give these an honorable mention because you can't really use these alone, but this whole like pastel mid-tone blushing vibe, you need it in your life. It's gonna save you this summer. It's gonna save you all year round, but I feel like it's also really helpful for summer because you can set down your cheeks a little bit after you use a cream blush, especially if you have oilier skin like me. So that's about all my thoughts for today. I hope you found some of my recommendations helpful. Hope you guys aren't annoyed that this list is so long, but I just wanted to give options that hopefully like will suit everyone, and hopefully everyone that watches this video can find at least like one blush that they like. Be sure to leave a comment down below which blush I recommended today was your favorite, or just what your favorite summer blush is in general, because we don't gatekeep here. And yeah, if you like this video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to see more content like this, because it really helps out my channel and it would really mean a lot to me. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!